Hey, Amy,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat. It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amy Cuevas and Juan Ramirez. What's up, party people? She is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez. We're going to do a little something different with the opening here. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. I feel like we should pay tribute to the great Vince Scully, Amy, because we might have some young kids coming across the show, and it's interesting because I don't know how many years now it's been. Has it only been 1 year since he passed away? I was just thinking about this the other day where I was like, there's going to be a period where there's going to be people who don't know who Vin Scully is. So I feel I take this upon myself. You let me know whether this is a good idea or not. But I feel like we should always start the show paying homage to the great Vin Scully with his opening line for every Dodgers broadcast, which was, "Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be."
Oh, that just made me so happy. I like it. Go for it. Let's do it.
So she is Amy Cuevas, and I am Juan Ramirez, and you are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. Let's get the other business out of the way. If you are listening to us on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, spread the word on the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up, leave us comments. We'd love engaging with you guys. And finally, follow us on social media on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. Amy, long time no see. How are you?
God, it's been a few days since I saw you. It feels like forever.
I know there's periods where Amy and I think see each other every day, and I think she just gets so over me and be like, I need a break from one. I really do.
That is
And
not true because I got to see you in the stadium on, was it Sunday? I think it was
yes,
Sunday. And I was so excited because I finally got to come up behind you and be like, hey.
All right, then. Let's start the show the way we always start the shows, and that is with our base running blunders. Amy, do we have any base running blunders?
So I mucked up our streak. So we're starting back at 0. So 0 days since the last base running blunder. When we were talking about the MLB Players Association, I think it was not the last episode, but the one before that. I said that they would need a 72 player vote to make things go forward. It would consist of 38 major league votes and then 34 minor league votes. I said 38 and 38, which is incorrect. So it's 38 and 34.
All right. I want to address. I do not think this is a base running blender, but it was brought to our attention by a loyal viewer. We love him, Jose Ayala. We got a chance to meet him at Dodger Fest, but Jose called me out on my prediction of the Doyers and the Cardinals this weekend, where I predicted that the Dodgers would split that series 2-2.
We
But the
both
Dodgers.
we both said that. We both said it would be a split.
So Jose Ayala said to us, "Is this a base running blunder?" And I say, "No, it's not a base running blunder. All it does is proves that Amy and I suck at predicting the future. We cannot predict the future. So if we get our predictions wrong, I don't think that should count as a base running blunder. I go to the honorable Judge Amy. Amy, what say you?"
It is not a base running blunder, but you are free to throw it in our faces. Like one said, it just means we're not very good at predicting. We're going into it with our best guesses, but I'm not prescient. I don't know about you. Do you have your crystal ball, Juan?
No, I don't think it should count. It just means, look, this is why I don't gamble, because I'm going to get everything wrong. So yeah,
Also, I would say too though, when we put our picks out, you guys are free. Feel free to comment on the episode. Let us know what your picks are because then at that point we kind of have an idea of who's better at this. But also like it's all in good fun to see like how we think the team's going to do as the season goes on.
absolutely. So why don't we do this? Let's start first. Let's recap the series, and I want to start off with. Now, for those of you guys who don't know this, at the time that we are recording this episode, this is Tuesday, so it would be the second game of the Doyers Giants series. So far, this would be the sixth home game of this 7-game homestand. And Amy's been, not counting today's game, but Amy has been at every game. So, Amy, let's start off with opening day. What was your opening day experience like? I know you were there all day. All I heard was people bitching and moaning about parking and how long it took them to get out of the parking lot. But I got a good morning text from you where I think you were the first in line, the first one in front of the gate. Please share with us your opening day experience.
Yeah, I got there. I think I got to the stadium about 9 o'clock. Gates didn't open till 10, so just hung out right in the line. And then as we moved up, and then they finally let us all through. I was the first car in Gate E, so it felt good. I know I didn't win anything. I know there's no prize, but I did have to call Juan and be like, "Guess what? I was the first one in the stadium from Gate E." So it was just a good start off to the to the season. And I know you kind of were like, "Eh."
Well, no, this is what was happening was so she calls me so excited that she was the first one in the stadium, and all I could think of was
Nerd alert! Beware, beware. There is a nerd in the vicinity. Hey man, someone's nerding out over here.
I think you actually did say that over the phone.
I will say this though, Amy. I do love how you do not allow yourself to succumb to cynicism, that you still embrace the traditions, the joy of opening day, the hope. And again, this is why we say on this show, in one hand there is hope, and in the other hand there's Juan. So you can go ahead and translate that any other way you want. I know some people were sensitive to our metaphor, but look, it's all in good fun. Uh, but in terms of the environment, did you have a good time? I know, like I've been on record as saying I think opening day is amateur hour, and the reason why I say that is because it's super crowded, and I feel people are already drunk before the game starts. And the older that I get, the more I shake my fist up at the cloud. I just don't like stuff like that bothers me. It's like, look, I'm coming here. I want to enjoy the game. Let me enjoy the game. Were you able to enjoy that game?
It's funny you mentioned that. So the first day, opening day, I had a great time. I got there early. My friends were DJing up on top deck and reserve level, so I went and hung out with the DJs of Rose City Sound. And then I was actually surprised there weren't like last year when we got there. There were like lines of people waiting. There were just people filtering in this year. So I don't know if it's because it was a day game. Not everybody could get the day off. They couldn't afford the tickets or what, but it was not packed like I thought it would be, and it didn't fill up till a lot later. But I had a good time. I understand what you mean by amateur hour. We actually left last night's game early because that's what was happening. So I didn't have that experience on opening day, but I did have it last night. A lot of drinking last night. A lot of rowdy people, a lot of people going in and out of the rows. Like me and my best friend were there, and we missed half the game because people were just standing in the aisles or didn't know where their seats were, and it was worse than probably any of the games I've been in the last 5 days. So we were like, I can't even see the game. I'd rather go home and watch it. So but as far as opening day, it was great. It was amazing. I had a great time. The flyover was awesome. They did something a little new this year where they had a blue carpet, and all the players came out and were announced through the center field wall. So you got to see some of the regular roster players coming out, and then at the very last part of that, they announced like the starting lineup. Everybody came through, and on either side of the blue carpet were their families and the kiddos of each of the Dodger players. So it was kind of an interesting mix, a different twist on opening day.
I like that because it does make it something. It makes that game stand out. There is a special quality to it, especially having the family. I thought that was a really nice touch. Just putting it out there, guys, for the final game of the series between the Doyers and the Hated Ones, Amy and I will be there, but I am forcing Amy to sit in my seats because yes, I'm a movie snob. And apparently, not only am I a movie snob, but I'm a snob when it comes to where I sit at Dodger Stadium. I am a big proponent of the Lowe's section. Okay. I love the Lowe's section. I feel the Lowe's section is less crowded, so therefore I have to deal with less chusma.
If
And
you want to bankroll my season ticket, I am happy to move to Loge. but being that I'm paying for it myself, I sit where I sit.
Yeah. Amy sits with all the ham and eggers, right? So all the ham and eggers, and what sucks is her seat's on the aisle. So if all these people get up like they're in church or something, get up, sit down, and then they have to like walk out the aisle, I can totally understand why that messes up with your viewing experience and enjoying it. But that's not going to happen on Wednesday, because on Wednesday we are dealing with a higher class of people. Those of us who sit in the
Wow.
low. Yes,
Wow. Calling out my section. Wow.
us losers, that we are there to watch baseball games and we know how to act in society. Absolutely not.
Losers.
No, we know how to act in society. We have manners, damn it. And that's why we will be sitting in the loge to pay respect to the great sport of baseball. Thank
Well
you. Damn
done.
it. It had to be said. It had to
Well,
be said.
I will be there, and I will roll with you and live in your let them eat cakeness. It will be wonderful, I'm sure, and I will have my scorecard there. We will also have stickers on us, so if you can find us in the stadium.
That's right. If you do see us there, make sure you say hi to us. We'd love to meet you, and we'd love to find out why you guys watch us and listen to us. Because I think I'm still trying to figure it out. But look, I'm very appreciative that you guys listen and watch us. Okay,
There's your negativity again. Jeez.
so we actually came really close to being correct on our prediction for the Cardinals series, because Sunday's game was a little iffy, and I appreciate that Amy, she was in the press box and she came down to say hi to me in my loge seats. Thank you very much. I was sitting in the loge. She slummed it all the way down from the press box to loge.
It was
she was
two
right
flights of stairs, 2 flights.
She was literally right above me in the press box, and a couple of foul balls I came really close to catching a foul ball. One was 2 rows in front of me. That Sunday game, Max Muncy went ahead and then hit that go away homer. But if things don't go the way, I mean, this series was really crazy, Amy, because in one sense, the Dodgers could have split the series 2-2, or in another sense, they could have swept that
If the
series,
rain didn't happen on Saturday, you have a better shot of Yamamoto going deeper in the game, getting to see him pitch, seeing what happened, maybe the offense, because it was freezing. I give credit to those players on the field. Saturday and Sunday, those games were cold. I was cold up in the press box. I'm sure being on the field, like I think I got some pictures of them on the field and you could see them kind of blowing in their hands. Like it had to be cold down there.
So let's start with the positives of what we took away from this series. Like,
There
to
are
you,
negatives.
I have some. I know you don't, because again, you are the esperanza of this show. You know, in that hand, ladies and gentlemen, there is hope, and in the other hand, there is me. To you, like, okay, I know you probably have thousands of positives, but give me one positive from this series.
Oh, let me pick one from my scorecard.
Oh my gosh. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast, she's holding up her scorecards. Now, these are scorecards for 5 games that you're holding up right now?
Oh no, I just have the ones from the Cardinals series. So no, I
Okay,
left
4
my
games.
one
All right.
for San Francisco on the desk.
Yeah, she's got scorecards in her hands.
Nerd alert! Beware, beware. There is a nerd in the vicinity. Hey man, someone's nerding out over here.
Okay, Amy, the floor is yours. Give me a positive.
There were a lot of home runs, like obviously from people that we expect, like Mookie Betts, but like Teoscar, he had a 2 home run night Friday night. Rojas also hit a home run that night, so it was good to see some of those players, go yard, have their moment. So yeah, like scoring wise, I feel like the offense did a pretty good job this weekend. That's my positive. That's my first positive. Go ahead.
I think, I mean, the offense, I think, correct. I mean, you got the scorecards in front of me. I think.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Okay.
Including the Giants game last night, I think the Dodgers have scored at least 5 runs in every game so far. Check me on
that's correct. Let me check last night's. Yes, they have 5 or
5,
above.
5 runs, if your offense is scoring 5 runs, you have a good chance of winning every game. So I agree with you. I think the offense looked really great. I mean, Mookie Betts, I, we talked about this early in the preseason that we felt that Mookie was really good, that both Mookie and Federico were going to benefit a lot from having Ohtani in the lineup. But yeah, Mookie Betts just looks like he is clicking on all cylinders. I feel a lot of people are already saying if he keeps playing shortstop, he's going to run away with the MVP. Hey, pump the brakes, everybody. Yes.
He split the series though, playing shortstop 2 games, second base 2 games. Just throwing it out there.
And so we're going to get to that. Okay, so here's my positive. It's the starting pitching. I mean, the Dodgers could not have wished even. I mean, for the way this series started. Okay, here we go. Tyler Glass now, 6 innings. He gives up 2 hits. He gave up 1 run, which was just a home run. But the guy had 5 Ks. Okay, he only had 1 walk. That was great. All right, 6 innings. That's what you want from your starter, right? So now your bullpen only has to cover 3, and this is early in the season. Bobby Miller looked even better than Glass now. Bobby Miller on Friday went 6 innings, only gave up 2 hits, but he gave up no runs, but 11 Ks. Like Bobby Miller was looking nasty. You were going to say?
He was responsible for all of everybody getting a jumbo jack, like by himself. There was no combined effort, and that was like being whispered around too in my section of like, are we getting jumbo jacks? We're getting jumbo jacks. Oh my gosh, we're getting jumbo jacks.
Thank you, Bobby with the jumbo jacks for us. And then, of course, we had the game on Saturday with Yamamoto, which was interesting because I didn't think after the rain delay happened, Amy, that he was going to come out to pitch that 5th inning. I really thought, because the rain delay was almost 40 minutes, I really thought that they were going to be like, okay, you're done. So I was very surprised to see him come out in the 5th. I thought it was great. I mean, the guy went 5 innings, again, only gave up 2 hits, 5 Ks, no runs. It was 5 innings of shutout. That has got to do wonders for his confidence because
and his ERA.
Yeah, his ERA.
He went from a 45 ERA to a 7.5.
Tell me about that, right? It's just like now he can walk around like a peacock. I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly. You know, his ERA is
Mark
over
Wahlberg.
So I think that was also just very encouraging for him, because if he would have had another start that would have gone left, I don't know if that starts creeping into his head. I know that he had mentioned before that start that, and maybe Dave Roberts had mentioned this, that there were some mechanics that were affecting Yamamoto's windup, and it was because he was trying to fix other things. So it looks like whatever he was trying to fix, it also fixed his mechanics. Why are you laughing at me?
Because that was literally Dave Roberts' wording, and people were like, wait, what? Other things? What does that mean? And it was like, other things. But I think he also elaborated and said, like, they were kind of getting him back to where he was before to me, it sounded like maybe they overthought it. They overworked it, and now they're like dialing it back and going back to where he was. And now it's like the Yamamoto we saw in spring training game 1. So
yeah, so I thought he looked great. Gavin Stone, we all were raving about how great Gavin Stone was in spring training. And he struck out the side in that first inning on Sunday, and it looked like, oh, damn, Gavin Stone's going to end up pitching a gem. And he had a nice, close to a quality start. He went 5 innings. He gave up 3 runs. All of them were earned. He had 6 Ks. I don't think they hit him that hard. There was some plays there. You just got to tip your hat to the Cardinals. The Cardinals executed and they manufactured runs. They had productive outs for at least those first 2 runs. And the Dodgers offense was just not heard from in the first half of that game because, of course, they had to go with their all right-handed lineup because there was a lefty on the mound. But overall, to me, I think you have to be very encouraged by the Dodgers starting pitching, because if they can keep this up, look, there's reports, and we're going to talk about Walker Buehler, but there are reinforcements that hopefully are going to come later on in the season. So you can never have enough starting pitching, and to have your starting pitching start the way it did, I mean, at this point, Gavin Stone, who's your fourth starter, was the one who gave up the most runs. But again, if your offense is going to give you 5 runs of run support, you have a very good chance of winning. Amy, do you have any more positives out of that series?
Mookie Betts, I think in 3 of the 4 games, he had hit home runs in every single one, and then that's carrying over from also the Seoul series where he hit one then. So I think at one time he had like 4 straight games with a home run. Freddie hit a home run. Like the top of our lineup is getting going. Ohtani has yet to hit one, but even Dave Roberts, I believe it was in the presser on Sunday, was saying that it's a timing issue. Kind of corroborated what Ohtani has already said. So he's seeing the ball well. He's hitting it hard. He's in that elite group of really hard hitters. He just needs to get that timing down. And then, if they're already lethal at the top of the lineup, like it's going to be even more so once Ohtani gets that kind of clicking into place.
Exactly. So let me go into the bad. I know you don't like the bad.
I'm looking at my scorecards. I don't see any bad.
So you don't have any bad.
I mean, I probably do. I can hunt for some. Go for it.
Did you want me to give you time?
No, go for it. Go, please.
Right.
Share your otro mano perspective.
Exactly. So obviously, to me, the bad was the bullpen, and in particular, it was a couple of guys, because for the most part, you had other guys in the bullpen that did a really good job, but Mariachi Joe had a rough inning on Saturday. And it was a combination of a lot of things. His command was really off. You have a hit by pitch in that inning. I mean, he gave up 5 runs in that inning. 4 of them were earned. But not only do you have the hit by pitch, but you had an error there by Will Smith with catcher's interference.
We got twice this weekend.
Exactly. Twice this weekend. So we saw him pitch again in the first game of the series against the Giants, and it was a little bit more of the same, not as bad. I mean, that inning against the Cardinals really escalated quickly. But I don't know if that's anything new from Joe Kelly. I think Joe Kelly is very streaky. There are going to be periods where you're going to see Joe Kelly pitch the way he pitched on Saturday. And then there's going to be other stretches where he just is lights out and he's nails. And I just feel like that's who he's been his whole career.
I mean, human? You mean like good days and bad days? Okay, sorry. Go on.
Exactly. So that being said, the Dodgers did come back to tie that game. And again, they had every opportunity to win that game because they had the bases loaded with no outs in the first inning and didn't score. In the first 2 innings against Lance Lynn, remember our friend Lance Lynn, who gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning in the playoffs. The Dodgers had him on the ropes on Saturday.
Wait, we lost that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I said.
I thought you said we came back to win. I was like,
no, we almost came back to win.
Oh, my bad.
If I did say that, my intentions were to say the Dodgers almost came back to win that game. And even though there was a lot of grief given to Joe Kelly for giving up those runs, look, if the Dodgers would have just scored 1 run in those first 2 innings, 2 runs, they win the game. So I get it. Joe Kelly did not look good, but it's not all on Joe Kelly because as good as the offense has looked, you can't leave the bases loaded with no outs and come out of there without scoring a run. You needed a productive out.
I was going to say, which is funny because during the media scrum before the game, there were comments about like, oh, Lance Lynn's coming up, like, oh, the wind's blowing out. Like basically the Dodgers were gonna be able to hit him. And I think we went hitless against him.
It was the age-old battle, the Dodgers versus runners in scoring position. It was a rough go of it.
And that was the rain delay too. So it was cold. Granted, they are professionals and they know how to play in different weather, but there was a lot going on.
There's another guy who catches a lot of strays on this bullpen, and it's part of a larger conversation that I want to have with you, and that is Alex Vesia. Even before Alex Vesia was on this roster, Dodger fans were trying to find a way to get this guy off of the Dodgers roster. So here's what cracks me up about Alex Vesia. He pitched on Saturday and on Sunday, and he caught a lot of grief. Amy, do you know that he pitched an inning in the third? He only gave up 1 run. He did not give up a hit at all. The thing that kills this guy is he had 3 bases on balls. It's his control. He ended up hitting a Cardinal hitter that it resulted in that run being scored. So, as much as everybody wants Alex Vesia out there, here's my question to you, Amy. He, aside from Ryan Yarbrough, who is obviously being used in a very specific way in the bullpen, is the only Dodgers left-handed reliever. And I know a lot of questions were being asked, especially in that Saturday game. When are they going to go to the lefty? When are they going to go to the lefty? And then they finally went to Alex Vesia. But how much longer can they survive with only having one lefty? Because I know what a lot of people, I know how the Dodgers are going to answer this question, but I'm curious what your thoughts are about only having one true lefty reliever in that bullpen.
I mean, as long as it takes. We're not going to just manifest somebody. So I don't know what you want from me. Like, if he's the only one, he's the only one. So
I want the truth, damn it.
Well, he's it right now. So you get what you get.
And I know, like, people were already, it was just like doomsday, right? Because of the bullpen and how they pitched in that game. I will say this again, guys. Calma, tranquilo. Keep this in mind. Brusdar Graterol is on the injured list. Blake Trinan is on the injured list. You get those 2 guys back, your bullpen is going to be much better. Yes, your bullpen is going to be dominated by right-handed hitters, but you have a lot of righties. Brusdar Graterol and Blake Trinan are guys who can get left-handed hitters out. And so that's how I think the Dodgers are going to answer this question is, okay, yes, we don't have any true lefty relievers, but we have right-handed relievers who can get left-handed hitters out. And that's what we're going with. And so don't freak out about the bullpen. Yes, there were moments where the bullpen did not look good in this Cardinals series, but I don't think it's any major concern at this time. I just find it interesting that they they ended up making an acquisition today. Let's get into it right now. Taylor Trammell, is it Trammell or Trammell?
I have no idea. I'm not even
I'm
going to pretend that I know how to pronounce it.
I'm going to go with Taylor Trammell. The Dodgers just picked him up because Jason Hayward seems to be, this is the second time he was scratched from the lineup on Monday against the Gigantes with back stiffness. So it looks like they did some imaging. So the fact that they went ahead and picked up Taylor Trammell makes me think they saw something in that imaging that they probably don't like, and that Jason Hayward is probably going to miss some time. Are you making that same assumption, Amy?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, luckily you have Teoscar Hernandez who can play out there. But I mean, if you're trying to do, like, I don't know if Taylor bats left or right. I haven't even looked yet, honestly. Have you checked?
I'll give you the information on good old Taylor because
please do.
I knew this was the reason why the Dodgers picked him up. He's a left-handed hitting outfielder. Like there's a reason why he was designated for assignment by the Marineros. Okay. The guy has been in Major League Baseball for 3 seasons now. He's hitting under 200, combined those 3 seasons. What the Dodgers saw in him, if it's a Chris Taylor situation, because we all know what happened, that Chris Taylor came from the Mariners and he became Chris Taylor. I don't know if Taylor Trammell is a long-term solution for the Dodgers in the outfield, but I know the reason why they picked him up is because he's left-handed. Because the minute this happened, all I got from Dodger fans was, why are we getting this guy up if we have Andy Pages down in the minors? Why aren't we calling Andy Pages? Andy Pages, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, Andy Pages hits right-handed. And so as a result of picking up Taylor Trammell, they because he's on the 40 man, they had to make room for someone on the 40 man. And the reason how they made room for the 40 man for Taylor Trammell was they released Matt Gage. Matt Gage was a lefty reliever. So this is how I'm tying it all together.
Oh dear.
How do you like that? That's right.
I'm trying to make my way through your yarn conspiracy theory chart right now. Carry on.
So obviously it is not a concern, I think, to the Dodgers that they don't have more lefty arms in that bullpen. Now, look, what were the chances that Matt Gage was going to make this team? Probably not very high. But he was released to make room for Taylor Trammell. Again, I don't know if Taylor Trammell is a long-term solution. We don't know how long Hayward is going to be out for. They may give Trammell a little bit of run up here. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, they can always release him. And at that point, maybe Andy Bacchus is ready to go if Hayward is still on the IL. Was I right about Andy Bacchus hitting right?
He bats right. Yep. You were correct.
So that is I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You were correct.
I'm sorry, my headphones, sometimes I get a lot of static in it.
You were correct.
Thank you. You know, it's amazing. I hear you so clearly when you whisper.
Black lung pop.
So that was a little bit of news mixed in with my bad. And that was the only bad that I had from that series, Amy. So
wait, what? That was the only bad you had? I'm in like a Dr. Seuss telenovela right now. Oh my gosh.
So do you have any bad, or did I steal it from you?
No, I didn't really have any bad. I was just enjoying watching baseball, and the fact that we came up 3-1 in the series was pretty awesome to me. So, I mean, I think what we're about to talk about next is just something I'm not a fan of as a fan when I take off all my other hats. I am not a fan of in-game interviews.
All right, before we go to that, I do want to talk about the ugly in this series.
What? There's ugly? No, I thought we were good.
To me, the ugly, I think, is the defense. And that not in that series, but up until this point, the two catchers' interferences. I mean, you said it yourself, Amy. When was the last time you saw a catcher's interference? Not only did we see one, but we saw one in back-to-back games. Like all that confusion.
Sunday.
So you were in the press box on Saturday. So in that inning when Joe Kelly was pitching, and then they gave the runner from third to home, and nobody knew what the hell was going on. Like they never announced it. It's like, hey, do you guys want to fill us in on what's happening?
They did announce it in the press box. It was delayed. And this is also, you're going to probably nerd alert me for this, but this is also why I have a transistor radio when I go to games as a fan, because I want...
Nerd alert! Beware, beware. There is a nerd in the vicinity. Hey man, someone's nerding over here.
Yeah. But that's where I usually can hear what's going on. And then all the people who are confused around me are like, what happened? What happened? And I can tell them, oh, it was catcher's interference. Oh, wait, it was ruled a balk. So when it happened, we usually, while we're in the press box, they will announce the plays, especially plays like that, or that are a little bit more like not run of the mill. And so it was initially announced that it was catcher's interference, or that there was an obstruction on the baseline. And we know that new ruling, well, the rule itself is the same, but MLB is having the umpire crew enforce it more. Is if there's an obstruction on the way to the base, then they're going to probably award in the runner's favor. So initially, that's what it was called. We're all marking down our scorecards. Everybody's kind of like, obstruction. How is it an obstruction? So there's a lot of murmuring going around. And then I think 2 or 3 plays later, it was then reported that it was a balk. And so again, everybody was like, what are we doing here? So catcher's interference, obstruction on the base, like now it's a balk. Like it never was clearly explained. It just, that is the play that it was. So there was a lot of confusion in the press box. I'm sure there was a lot of confusion in the stadium too.
I mean, look, there was a lot more confusion on the telecast, and there was a lot more, I'm assuming, on the radio. I was watching the telecast, and nobody knew what was called. And so that's the situation where I feel the umpires are mic'd up, right? So like when there's an official review, they announce right the ruling to everyone in the. I think they needed to do that in the game. I think they needed to explain to everyone because that's what everybody was running with first was obstruction. But then in one of the replays, you could see the third base umpire point to the pitcher, calling a balk, and then you could see in the replay that Joe Kelly looked at the third base umpire and was like, "What?" In situations. But there was just mass confusion about that. So that made this, I think, a little bit of sloppiness. It added the sloppiness to that game. But going back to the Dodgers defense, Max Muncy made an error on a ball that, and to his credit, it was hit hard, but it ended up leading to a run.
Let's
Mookie
just
Betts
crucify him. Like, gosh, everybody is just coming after him. Like, he saved our butts in one of those games, hitting a home run. And the season just started. They're gonna make some mistakes. It's gonna happen. Get back to your ugly.
But in a team that is stacked and has a lot of strengths, when we're asked what is a weakness of the team, to me, one of the weaknesses of the team is defense. And they are at this point 7 games into the season and they have 5 errors. So they're almost averaging an error a game. Yeah, this is something they can survive in the regular season. But if this happens, if that play happens in the playoffs and it costs them a game,
and it costs them a game.
People aren't going to be happy. People are not going to be happy.
They're not going to be happy, but that's baseball. Show me a team that has all of their pitching in line, their offense, their defense, everything firing on all cylinders all season long. And then I'm just going to then it's not baseball because you're dealing with injuries, you're dealing with errors, you're dealing with people having a day, people maybe not feeling good. Just stuff happens. Like, that's baseball. It's if there were perfect games all the time, and I'm not just talking about pitching, nobody would also like watching baseball either. Like, is that what we're aiming for now? Is that as a fandom what we're aiming for? Is all teams need to be perfect at all times for us to watch this game and enjoy it? Because I got news for you guys. That's not gonna happen.
Just the Dodgers. Everybody else can be imperfect. The Dodgers need to be
my beezy. Okay.
Before we segue to your favorite story, I just want to say this about Mookie. I'm curious if you saw this play. I don't know if you were in the press box during this play, but this is a concern for me with Mookie playing shortstop. Will Contreras slid into second base, and it was a hard slide. It was a force out, and he slid with his spikes up in the air. It was, I think it was
Chase Utley. Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I think it might have been opening day. It might have been opening day because it was the same day that that Mookie took like 2 inside pitches where everybody was like, "Is he throwing at Mookie?" But my concern is this: when you have Mookie playing shortstop the whole season, look, to me, I don't think. I know some people were saying that was a dirty play. To me, that was hard baseball. But we have seen shortstops in the past get taken out on plays like that where players are trying to break up double plays. I would hate to have Mookie get hurt on someone breaking up a double play, and then you lose Mookie for a certain period of time, or you lose him for the whole season. Because we see how Mookie is playing right now. The Dodgers need Mookie. So the longer Mookie plays shortstop, that is my concern. I feel like I already know what your answer is to this, but I want to hear it from your lips.
Wilson Contreras, he only got on base twice, and that was in Friday's game and Sunday's game. I don't have that he stole a base.
He didn't steal a base. It was a force out. It was a force out. You didn't see the play? It was a really hard. It was a ground ball to Gavin Lux, and Gavin Lux threw to Mookie to force him out at second. But Contreras came in there hard, and he came up with his spikes up. If Mookie got there a little, just like a which of a second late, I'm curious what would have happened if there would have been a collision, because there was. I know I owe you a lot of videos, but when I find that video, I will send it to you. But that is so you don't have a concern that Mookie might get hurt playing shortstop on a play where they're breaking up a double play.
Okay, I have what might be a silly question. Okay, but if not him, then who? So whoever steps in his place is going to get hurt, and we're not concerned about them, or
This is where we
like
do a Hunger Games reference and we have a sacrifice. I would want someone else getting hurt. I don't
I
want Mookie
volunteer as
getting hurt.
tribute. Okay, well
Yes.
it's baseball, so I would hope that if somebody did slide in cleats up, even though we have the new base obstruction thing. I would hope that he's a professional and he would get out of the way. I hope if something bad like that did happen, the umpires will hold somebody accountable so that it doesn't happen. But I mean, as much as I would love to wrap these guys in bubble wrap, that's not going to happen. We have to hope that he is a professional and he can see something like that coming and then react. I mean, the guy is an athlete. He's got quick reaction time. I continue to see articles out there about everybody's concern about him being second base, shortstop, and it's like, do we not realize yet that he's an athlete, like that he is an elite athlete? So at this point, like, yeah, I don't want him to get hurt, but like, I'm going to trust that he knows what he's doing out on the field. And you can't control everything out there. So hope for the best. Hope for the best.
Expect the worst.
Oh man, there we go. Another contrast.
This is again, this is why sometimes Amy is just against fun because she's got to bring logic into every argument. I don't understand why you can't just live in the fantasy world that I live in.
It's not even that. It's y'all call us women emotional and you guys get so worked up over this game and I'm just like, I just want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it. I don't want any of my guys to get hurt. I want them to play the best that they can, but at the end of the day it's baseball and you're over here worried that he's going to like it didn't happen. He's okay. Like it's all right. Do you need a hug? I'll give you a hug. I got some chocolate. Do you want some? Like are we good?
Hope for the best, expect the worst. All right, let's get to your story that you want to talk about because I know you are a big fan of in-game interviews between players and broadcasters. Amy, the floor is yours.
It's I'm taking all of my other official hats off. This is me speaking as a fan. I just don't like it. I want to see the game. Two, I back to you not wanting our players to get hurt. I don't want them to have divided attention. I get that they are professionals, but if you are taking an interview in one ear and you're also fielding on the field, there's got to be there's got to be a divide there. I know a lot of people love it. They love peeling back the curtain. I think we can peel back the curtain in other ways. I'm not a fan in the game because that is something that I worry about injury of, if you're splitting your focus, are we losing that defense on the field? Are you potentially in a position to get hurt or not back up your other players? So for me as a fan, speaking as a fan, I don't like the in-game interviews. They're not my favorite.
And I know you were up in the press box during this, but in particular, for those that aren't familiar, Geekgate was getting interviewed by ESPN. And while he was being interviewed, you could pick up the PitchCom. So you could hear the pitches that were being called. And it was totally sounded like Siri too. It was like, change up.
Inside, so we were watching the game, and then I remembered that Kike was getting mic'd up, so we had looked up at because they keep screens in the press box, so we can also see the replays of the game, and I saw him on there, but we couldn't hear anything, so I pulled up my app so we could put the game on and listen to it, and that was the first thing I noticed when I was talking to one of the other people in the press box was, dude, I can hear PitchCom, like that's not a good look, and not on Kike because he's in there. He needs to be hearing these things and he needs to be playing the game. But some people were like, well, I don't understand why that's such a big deal. It's in real time. And I get that. I guess to me, because I'm overthinking this, somebody can go back and watch the tape. I know that they're not going to see this in real time. They can't hear the PitchCom normally. But if it just gives anybody some kind of upper hand, being able, okay, so this is what it looks like when he's throwing this. They can figure that out on their own, but why would we help them do that even more? Okay, this is what the inside fastball looks like. Okay, what is his body positioning? What does it, body language look like? That's my concern. Yes, I get you can't do it in real time, but if you want to review the tape later, if anybody was inclined, they could do that.
And they asked Dave Roberts about it, and Dave Roberts didn't feel like the Dodgers were at a disadvantage. And a lot of the examples that you gave, a lot of the reasoning that you just gave right now, because it wasn't in real time. But I think you make valid points there. Could they not go back and pick up on stuff like this in terms of delivery, positioning that you were talking about? It was just interesting because it was, again, it was like, why is this necessary? It's not like we
Well,
found. Go
oh, I
ahead.
was just gonna say, Oral Hershiser, he's famously said he used to pitch in sleeves, and because he didn't want anybody to even see his wrist bone when he was pitching. What position was his hand in when he was going to deliver that ball? Was it, is this going to deliver one way versus another? So his entire career, he pitched in sleeves. There are people who don't want to give anybody any kind of advantage, and while it's not a real time advantage, it is still something somebody could review later on tape.
Yeah. Look, I don't think we learned anything new. It feels like it's really forced upon. I'm sure there are some people that really love it, that dig it. But I see a lot of people going like, "Why are we doing this?" So, of course, I just found it interesting because it involved Kike. But a little bit of news here. Also, this past weekend on Sunday, Walker Buehler made a rehab start at Oklahoma City. Amy, do you have the numbers, or can you update us on that?
Don't have the numbers for Oklahoma City, but I was there when Dave Roberts was talking about like what the goal is for him. So ultimately they want to build him up to either 6 innings, 90 pitches, and some of the things that he's looking for are the glove side command, and then the life of the fastball as he's pitching. So I know they were giving stats, like some of the media had some of his stats pulled up on Saturday while we were in that pregame conference, but as far as what the outcome was, I hadn't double checked on that. Do you happen to have numbers on it?
He did go 3 innings. I believe is the official stat. He gave up I believe it was 3 runs is what he ended up giving. But I think the most important thing was it seems like they're going to give him at least 3 more starts. It looks like he's going to spend the whole month in Oklahoma City, but I think they are surprised. I don't think they expected him to be coming back this early. So we may see Walker Buehler in May pitching for the Dodgers. And if that's the case, I hope the Dodgers go to a 6-man rotation, because we are recording this before the start of game 2 between the Doyers and the Giants. And we're already in a bullpen game, ladies and gentlemen. So we are at this point, we're 7 games into the season, and we already have our first bullpen game. If that's the case, if that's what they're going to do, just go to a 6-man rotation. I don't. This is becoming a thing where I think a lot of fans don't want to see bullpen games.
So who do we get for that extra slot? Because right now it looks like we're piggybacking the entire bullpen, obviously. So who would you like to see in that starting role for the game to give them that length?
If Walker Buehler is ready by May, when he comes back, I would like them to go to a 6-man rotation. I would like them to keep Gavin Stone in the rotation. I don't want to see bullpen games. I just don't. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's entertaining to watch. And just to clarify for everyone, Walker Buehler did go 3 1/3 innings. He did allow 3 earned runs. He made 54 pitches.
And it did say he retired his first 7 batters before he started waning a bit in the 3rd inning. That was from Eric Steven wrote an article in True Blue LA. So there's some good stats in that one.
Yeah, so I would like them to continue to build Walker Buehler up, and I would like to see them, like I said, don't send Kevin Stone back down. I want to keep them, keep them, do the 6-man rotation. I just don't want to see any more bullpen games. It's just something that I as a fan, I don't think is appealing.
I don't disagree. I know for right now, while we're building Walker Buehler up, there's not really another option at this point. So we may be seeing those until, like you said, May. But I think the important thing is getting Yamamoto rest so that he can perform like he did on Saturday, because that guy, he was lights out. Like, he did great up until the rain, really started coming down, and he was pitching in the rain. Like, that guy was a stud on Saturday. That's the guy everybody, was hoping that we signed, and we got to see him that way.
And that's an excellent point too, Amy, because he did have a long layoff between him pitching in Korea and then pitching back in the States. So I wonder, was he that effective because he had that long layoff? Because he's not going to have that much rest in between starts during the regular season. I
think
think
it's a combination of the rest, but if they're also tinkering or like kind of rewinding back to where he was before they started tweaking things, I think a lot of factors can play into that, right? Like, so it might just be a bunch of things, and hopefully what we see going forward is him adjusting a little bit better, getting a little bit more rest coming from Korea, and everything that's going to entail.
yeah. So I mean, he had 8 days rest before he made that start. So I get it. This is why, but it just cracks me up because they said they weren't going to do a 6-man rotation, and whatever this is another form of a 6-man rotation if you're going to throw in a bullpen game. Let's end the show with this some positivity, Amy. I know you love positivity, and that is Will Smith's
And
contract.
I love me some Will Smith too, so that works out.
So you want to let the people know about this story?
Basically, he got a contract extension, something that both sides were looking for. I'm sure some fans too for a long time. So, a 10-year contract, 140 million overall. So he's going to be making 14 million a season. I'm excited to have him as our long-term catcher. I think he's great. I think he's underrated. I don't think people give him a lot of credit. Even last year, I think he was one of the contributing factors when people were talking about like, oh, the big three at the top, like, and he was a contender for the big four until he got injured. He got that, I think it was a head contusion or a concussion, and then the rib injury, the oblique injury. So I mean, I think he's a very underrated catcher. I think he's ranked second in the MLB. So good for the Dodgers locking him down. I'm really excited about this.
I know a lot was made of the fact that the average is out to like 14 million a year. So there's a lot of good value there for the Dodgers because people feel Will Smith should be getting more than 14 million a year. Some of the things, this contract's going to take him until he's 39. I don't expect him at the age of 39 to be the Dodgers catcher. I think what this means is that more than likely, Will Smith has a position change coming up in his career. Let's just keep in mind that I think Freddie is only signed for 3 more years. So first base is going to open up. So when immediately the news of the extension was announced, there was why are you laughing at me?
Because we couldn't even be excited about him being a catcher for the next 10 years or just having a contract before everybody's like, well, where are we moving him in the next couple of years? And it's like, chill. He finally got some like consistency over the next couple of years with this contract, and we're already trying to figure out where to plug him in. Like, let the man breathe. Well, trust me, the Dodgers front office, no, they'll get there.
Look, there's a lot of Andrew Friedmans out there, and they need to have their opinion heard. Okay,
my bad, and any number of things can change between this year and next year. It struck me as funny that like there was already so much anxiety around where are we going to put him, and it's like, dude, right now he's a catcher. Figure it out.
Yes, right now he's a catcher, but what I saw a lot of was too because he got that 10-year deal that the Dodgers needed to trade a lot of their catching prospects. I don't know if that necessarily is true because of the fact that he is going to be moved. Okay. So I don't think that means you have to trade any of your catchers. You can still keep those catchers that you have in your system because let's say after 3 years when Freddie's gone, and maybe you need maybe it's not at first, maybe it's at third. Who knows, right? But what my point was this is I don't think you automatically trade those catchers. Maybe one of those catchers, but not all of them just because Will Smith's going to be around for the next 10 years. That's all I'm saying, Amy. You don't have to get mad at me.
I'm not mad. I'm just you make me smile.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we have a saying on this show. There's hope in one hand, and then there's Juan in the other. So that's going to do it for this episode of Baseball Shangri-La. Any last words before we wrap this up, Amy?
No, I think last week with our picks, I think you and I were matched. So as far as this Giants series, we're going 2-1 on it. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Do we need to jump to the next one, or are we good holding on to our picks for the next series till
Let's
we meet
hold them on.
again?
Yeah, till we
Okay.
meet again. So let's take care of some business. If you've been listening to us on the podcast, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, rate us, write us a review, help us spread the word. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that notification button, give us that thumbs up, and leave us comments. We love engaging with you guys on social media. Make sure you're following us on social media on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, Threads, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. So we did something new in this episode where we started the show with an homage to Vin Scully. I would like to end the show now with an homage to another great Dodger broadcaster, the great Jaime Jarrin. And this is going to be our send-off to the show. Los despedimos con un beso. She is Amy Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. We'll catch you next time. Amy, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.